It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley are in Holland, in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands right now, just outside Schiphol Airport, at the Wortel Company. And they are going to do an amazing Windows Weekly. We've got lots, of course, of Windows news, but we have a product demo coming up that's going to blow your mind. Stay tuned. Windows Weekly is next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Windows Weekly is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley, episode 492, recorded Wednesday, November 16th, 2016. Amsterdamned. Windows Weekly is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Are you hiring? With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post to 100-plus job sites, including social networks, all with a single click. Screen, rate, and hire the right candidates fast. Try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/twit. And by the Ring Video Doorbell with Ring, you can see and talk to anyone at your door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. It's like caller ID for your home. Go to ring.com/WW and get $150 off the Ring of Security Kit with their limited time offer. And by Audible.com. To download the free audiobook of your choice, visit audible.com/windows. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show where we talk about the latest news from Microsoft and look and lo and behold, imbibing beer because the sun has gone over the yard arm in beautiful Amsterdam, Holland. It's Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley from the Connect Conference. Hello, boys and girls.
Hello,
Hi,
Leo.
Mary Jo. This episode brought to you by the fine Honon beer, Flonon, Jopen Yemeni beer.
Am I saying that right? Jopen?
Jopen.
Close. Look at that.
Jopen. It looks like a giant pog in front of Paul's surface.
It is. It's a giant coaster.
It is? Is it really?
No, it's
No,
not.
it's a frisbee.
You need a giant stein. Look at that.
That's a sign for my door.
Where are you guys? You look like you're in a giant room.
So we're at Wortel, which is a converted church, which is now an office space. And you can't really see it, but there's a kind of a floating meeting space above us and behind us.
You're kind of in the nave.
Yeah.
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 The eye of God is right there.
Oh, dear.
It's true. And by the way, every single one of you is going to hell now.
No.
Yeah.
No,
it's beautiful.
That's nice. Yeah. And you have a live audience there with you?
We do.
We do.
And some guests coming up?
We don't have a way to show the audience, do we?
That's all right.
Without really complicating
it's better
matters.
to imagine.
We're going to have them run behind us at one point.
It's kind of like a Donald Trump rally. Just imagine.
Yeah.
Thousands of...
All right, here they come.
Uh-oh, here they all come.
Oh, they're all going to... That's lovely. That's nice. There you go. Hey, Wartles. Nice to see you.
This is how the Titanic sank.
Oh, this is good. Look at this. They're proliferating. Nice. Hello, Holland. Wow. A bunch of nice people. They all came out to see you?
They did. They even brought us gifts. They brought many beers for us, and yeah.
How many have been consumed at this point?
Only one or two at most.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, it was Mary Jo Foley's birthday 2 nights ago. Or last
Happy
night.
birthday. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. We just had a flash mob. A Wordle flash mob.
We did.
They're Dutch, so they're very polite.
They're very polite. I love...
They cleaned up after themselves. It was nice.
I think I mentioned this because I was in Amsterdam a month ago. I love Amsterdam. I love Holland.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's my first time here. I've never been to...
What do you think? You got to tour a little?
I love it. Yeah, it's been great.
Nice. What'd you do for your birthday?
What did I do for my birthday? I went to Jopen on my birthday.
We went here?
Yep.
What better birthday than to go to a brewery?
I know. I just shock her, but she spent her birthday in a brewery.
It was great, though.
That's good.
Also, by the way, in a converted church for the logo.
Apparently, there's quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
I told you about the hidden Catholic churches in
yeah, actually, we went to
Amsterdam.
one. Yeah.
Kind of cool, huh?
Right next to the red light district, by the way. Interesting.
I mentioned that, yeah. Yeah, you go out the door.
Yeah.
And
little yin and yang over there.
There's it, yeah.
So, yep.
So you're there. What is the occasion for this?
So we're here for IT Unity Connect, which is our trade show, which is happening. Well, it's actually started today, but tomorrow and Friday as well. And we decided to come out early just to come out and see Amsterdam and to see Harlem.
When you say our, you mean Petri or?
Yes. So, well, BWW. Yeah, Petri.
Petri. Yeah. And so you both spoke?
Actually, we didn't speak.
No.
So,
you're speaking
We're
now.
We're just hanging out.
Oh, even better. Oh,
yeah.
Man, I love business trips where you don't have to work. That's the best.
Yeah.
That's the best kind.
Show up and do the wave.
Yeah. The royal family's here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And well, great. And you're going to stay there for a few more days, or?
Yeah.
Good. So, what is the big news from Microsoft Connect?
So the Connect that's happening on the other side of the world in New York today is not the same IT Unity Connect. It's a different show.
Okay. Understanding now my confusion.
Yes.
Got it. So the New York Connect is not related to your Connect.
No.
Right.
But there was a ton of news there today, and we're going to bring you all the news right now in case you haven't seen it.
Good.
So the biggest, weirdest news announcement today was Microsoft joined the Linux Foundation today.
Not just joined, like they're running it. It sounds like
the Linux Foundation.
It was a
today.
coup.
They're on the board. It's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, how about that? Remember when Steve Ballmer called Linux a cancer? That was like 10 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Now Microsoft is on the board of the Linux Foundation.
That's actually kind of cool.
Kind of strange, though.
What is, I should know better, the governance of Linux.
Exactly. What does this mean exactly?
Yeah.
I actually think this is more of a formality. I think the real news is what's occurred over the past 2 years, just their embrace of open software and so forth. So.
Well, and and the guy on the board is an Azure guy, right? So, and Azure is really probably how people mostly use Microsoft and Linux together.
Right.
Sure.
For now, yeah. Except for Bash.
All right, settle down.
That's not Linux. That's Ubuntu. Really, there's a difference. But I'm wondering if this means we'll see a Microsoft Linux distro in the future.
Leo.
Is that crazy talk?
That will be my last day on the job.
No.
Linux Weekly instead of Windows Weekly, maybe.
We don't do that yet. We could. It'd be good.
Sure.
I agree with Paul. I think more symbolic than right now than actually sending a signal about something new. I mean, they are doing a lot with Linux at Microsoft. And I think the message was, we've really changed as a company, and now we're all in on open source. And how better to show it than join the Linux Foundation?
Yep.
This is
a
little
big love triangle.
This is a little more, though, than Microsoft. You know, Satya Nadella said, we want to be wherever our customers are, but the best experience will be on Windows. This is a little more than, say, making an app for an iOS. I mean, this is kind of saying we're playing this game. We're in this.
Yeah, no one feels good about this, Leo. I get it.
You don't.
My colleague at ZDNet, who covers Linux, his whole job is covering Linux. He said the reason Microsoft joined the Linux Foundation was because Linux won. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't think
was
that's
that man's initials SVG? Yeah, SJV. Yeah.
Yes, it was. But no, I don't think that was the reason. I think, again, more symbolic. But the other weird part of this that happened at the same time was Google joined the .NET Foundation Steering Committee today.
Whoa. What?
Yep.
Whoa.
That's weird too, right? I mean, another, I think, very symbolic kind of a move, but...
Right. Well, for a different reason. It's not like Google has some rich history of developing software solutions that run on Microsoft's platform. So this one I don't quite understand.
Yeah, not really sure either. I think more symbolic probably, but the idea, if you're on the technical steering committee of the .NET Foundation, is that you want to play a role in how .NET and Microsoft standards evolve. So I guess the assumption is Google cares and wants to play there.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm curious about that one.
Me too. Yeah. But then there was some real product news today too, out of New York. One is Microsoft announced Visual Studio for the Mac.
It was met with a dull thud.
Well, now
silently contemplate what that means.
So, code.
Our lives have gotten really complex.
I know.
This is like all cross-platform stuff. Is very intriguing.
Yeah, it's strange.
Visual Studio for the. Okay, now I'm trying to understand what that would mean. They had that code thing. Is Mac compatible?
No, it's an ID. So it's.
Well, I know what Visual Studio is.
Basically, right, but it's not really Visual Studio. It's the next version of what was called Xamarin Studio.
Oh,
which is mostly a mobile, but also a Mac development.
Yeah, that is cross-platform because that's. So you wouldn't develop iOS apps with Visual Studio for the Mac.
Well, you would actually
cross-platform
on the Mac,
apps. You would.
Yeah. You could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, because .NET Core has been ported to Mac OS, right? So this was kind of the first step, and then this is the second step, which is now we're going to do a full IDE for people who want to develop on Mac.
I think this happened in parallel to this, right? Because Xamarin had this separately before, right? So this is an evolution of that. It works with you can create iOS apps with it, Android apps. I assume. I shouldn't assume,
Android
but
apps.
What about Windows apps? Windows
apps. I think Windows apps also.
That one I'm not sure, but you can create Mac apps with it as well.
Yeah. So that was kind of an odd one as well. Then this next one is not as strange because we knew this was coming, but SQL Server is coming to Linux. And today there's a public preview available of SQL Server on Linux for anyone who wants to try it. What is really weird to me about this announcement was Microsoft positions this as the next version of SQL Server is now available on Linux and Windows. So they're also making a preview available today of the next version of SQL Server for Windows, not just the one for Linux. They say this is the same code base, just done in two different implementations, which confuses me a little bit because SQL Server for Linux was already out in private preview before today. And so I thought that was a subset of SQL Server 2016, which came out in June. But now Microsoft's saying the next version of SQL Server, both for Linux and for Windows, is going to be available in the middle of 2017.
So I don't know what they do exactly with service packs or servicing on SQL Server, but maybe what this is the second release of 2016, whatever they brand that as, and it would be a free upgrade for Windows. Yeah.
Although today they also announced SQL Server 2016 Service Pack 1.
There you go.
Which is not the same thing as this.
Okay.
I know. So SQL Server 2016 Service Pack 1 is actually taking the higher level features of SQL Server 2016 and bringing them down to the standard version. So before, a lot of the high-end features were not available on standard, and now they're coming down to standard through Service Pack 1.
All right. So if we could recap the news from Microsoft Connect, we have literally no idea what's going on.
Your whole worldview has just been turned upside down.
Yep.
Oh, except for one familiar thing. Visual Studio 2017.
Oh, yes.
Is almost done. It's out in a release candidate as of today.
Right.
Will be out and generally available early next year. So that was the one familiar piece of news today, I think.
Yep.
And everything else was kind of like, what? Yeah. So that was Connect. Scott Gu was the keynoter. Scott Hanselman was there. They're doing more tomorrow. There's going to be more things they're doing as a free stream if you want to watch it. And then on Friday, there's going to be a whole day of free technical content if you want to tune in for that. It's just going to be all day about all these different topics that they announced today for free, a whole day of educational content.
Cool.
So we'll be doing that from wherever we are in Amsterdam.
Will we?
While we're drinking more beers. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's your news from Connect for today.
That's quite a bundle.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the name of the conference is appropriate. Connect.
Yes.
Right? I mean, this is connections between Microsoft and everybody else. This is so interesting. It's so apposite to what Apple's doing. You know?
Apposite's a good word, by the way.
I just made it up. Do you like it?
No, it's a good word. No, it's an excellent word.
Yeah. I like to throw in a word or two once in a while just to show that you're not the only people who know language here. Hey, let me take a little break, and you can have a little beer, and or a big beer, or how's that Jopen. Is that good stuff?
It is. That's why I've chosen to freely advertise them.
Well, it's interesting because I just got a check from Jopen, and now we're going to do an ad for No. I'm just kidding.
Hooray.
Just kidding you. Our show today brought to you by our friends at ZipRecruiter. You know, I know you'd probably like a nice beer right about now, but something even more useful. What? Could there be? Yes, indeed. Something that would lift the clouds off your shoulders. If you're the person that is hiring at your company, you know that, this is challenging. And if it's a small company or like you're a sole proprietor, it's really challenging because it's the worst time to have to look for people is when you're down somebody. It's like, you're in the penalty box and you got to score a goal at the same time. Well, no, my friend, ZipRecruiter is here to help. ZipRecruiter is your team. They're ready to leap into action. Here's the deal. Hiring the right person is so important for a company. I don't just kind of throw this one away. And, if you've ever done that, you kind of know, there was a lot of trouble because we hired somebody that didn't really work out. And you want them to work out. A good employee, the right employee can lift your company, and the wrong employee could just drag it out of you for a long time to come. So do the right thing. Reach out to as many people as possible. Figure the right guy's there, the right gal's there. They're a needle in a haystack. How do we search that haystack? ZipRecruiter.com. One post to ZipRecruiter puts it on 100+ job boards and Twitter and Facebook. So you're on, in all the social networks. So you're out there. You're reaching the largest number of potential applicants. Now, you might say, well, I don't want to do that, Leo, because then I'm going to also be receiving the largest number of useless applications. No, because all the applications go into ZipRecruiter's interface. You don't see them at all. And that means, they handle it. You don't get calls to your inbox. You don't get, all of this complicated, resumes that you got to figure out how to format them and how do I even read them. You don't get a bunch of, it makes life easier. I want you to go to ZipRecruiter.com because once you get the stuff into the interface, right? And by the way, you will immediately get applications because they have 6 million existing resumes. They're going to just, because people go to look for jobs at ZipRecruiter. So you go right into that interface, and you can do so many things with the interface. For instance, you can create a little questionnaire, multiple choice, free form, yes/no formats. You've got a thumbs up and a thumbs down, so you can immediately reject the people who just don't pass muster, and then go through them, screen the candidates, and find the right person fast. They give you all the tools you need to do a great job. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/twit right now. All right, ZipRecruiter.com/twit, and you could try this for free. I think you will really, really like it. ZipRecruiter.com/twit. It'll help you find the right person fast and look at 1 million companies, including Twit. We use it. Have used ZipRecruiter. Some of the best companies in the world have used ZipRecruiter. You could try it free today. It's ZipRecruiter.com/twit. We thank ZipRecruiter for their support of Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley. They are in
Amsterdam.
Somewhere.
Not whatever this place really is.
They're in Holland. Then Mary Jo, please, if you would, do not look at Paul.
Good luck.
Ever again.
Okay, good.
No.
Never. Yeah.
I'm just teasing you. All right.
We could build a wall.
Actually, would you? A beer bottle wall. That looks good. You have this. So this is one thing I like about the beer drinking countries. And what country isn't a beer drinking country, really? But right. in Holland, they know how to do this. You have to have the right glass for the beer, right?
You do.
You don't just.
This is one rolling ad for this place, isn't it? That's pretty much what we're doing here.
Is that a Jopen? That's a Jopen glass.
It is. It's a Jopen glass.
And you don't put Chimay in Jopen glasses. You put them in Chimay glasses. You put Jopen in Jopen glasses.
Yep.
Crafting divine beer. Very fitting since
because it's in a church. I get it. Is it good? It looks like a. It looks like
triple.
It's a triple? Oh, man, I'm so
nice
jealous.
And light. It's a triple.
I love triples.
This is one of the best breweries I've ever been to.
Wow. All right, let's continue on. Now, actually, Mary Jo may stop looking at you because it's time to talk Xbox. I remember vividly 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Was it? No, it's tomorrow, right? Is the anniversary the 18th?
It's yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
Same day as my birthday.
That's right.
Oh, that must really gall you, Mary Jo.
It does. It man does it.
Listen, before next year is out, Mary Jo will own an Xbox.
I will not.
Anyway, I remember vividly, and we're talking about the first Xbox. We went up to Seattle. I was at Tech TV. And one of the reasons I remember it vividly is because I also had my first BlackBerry pager. So that'll give you some idea of the time frame. It was at the Experience Music Project, Paul Allen's Rock and Roll Museum in Seattle. And they had a big stage show, and it was so cool. And I was very excited. Microsoft had not done a gaming machine before that, right?
Not exactly, but remember they had an environment on the Dreamcast, which was based on Windows CE, and it brought in the DirectX libraries from Windows. And the idea there was maybe we could help developers port games between Windows PCs and the Dreamcast.
And that was a Sega product.
Right.
So they did dip their toe in it there.
Yeah, and then Sega exited the hardware business. And I think at that point they faced a decision, how would they proceed or would they proceed? And they decided to do their own.
I feel like the first Xbox was a Power PC processor for some reason.
No, that was the second one. So the first one was, the first one was a Pentium, I want to say Pentium 3.
So it was really a PC. It was a Windows device.
It was a PC. Yeah, it was a tank. It was just a PC.
And that was that the Red Ring of Death one?
No, that was also
the
Power
360
PC,
later.
360.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember having so many games on it, and I remember we also hacked that one. You could buy a mod chip.
Yep,
and if you were very adept at soldering, you could put it on the motherboard. Eventually, they came up with one that had little spring pins.
I never did that to my 2 Xboxes, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, you would never do that, of course. That would be wrong.
It was the first video game with a hard drive included. And it had an Ethernet port. I don't know that it was the first, but it also had an Ethernet port.
I wish I had my modded one. I think I gave it to my mom for my nephews because I put a big hard drive in there, which at the time was probably 500 megabytes.
Yep.
And and it had all the games on it because you could with the mod you could just put the games on the hard drive.
I think my completely legal non-modded Xbox is still around at a friend's house.
I can help you mod it if you want.
Yep. Yeah.
I missed that one.
I wasn't a complete convert with the first one. The second one did it for me, the 360. Although my big Xbox story was that when I met with those folks early, they showed me the development hardware. It was these 2 gigantic Power Mac G5 computers, and they were tied together somehow.
Right.
And you had a controller coming off of it.
I remember that.
They had announced the form factor. It was this little white plastic box. And I said, how are you going to get all that stuff into this little thing? And they said, we got guys working on it.
Oh, yeah, we could. No problem. No problem.
8 returned consoles later, they finally figured it out. But, yeah.
I think we were doing the show when the Xbox 360 came out. I think we were already, what was the year?
2000. No, it was probably, we just got in on after that. It was 2005 when it launched.
Okay, yeah, so it was.
And I think we started probably late 2006,
yeah. A year later. But I remember you talking about this demo, this phony demo with 2 machines.
Yeah. It's like, how are you possibly going to make this work? Well, plus it had a gigantic power supply.
November 22nd,
2005.
2005. So
my first home swap, we brought an Xbox to Europe because the power supply was so huge. Obviously, this will work here, and I almost blew up the house because you plugged it in and it didn't switch. The power for the whole block went out. Yeah, that was good.
And then, of course, the Xbox One, which really was a polished 3rd generation product. It really was. I think the king. I loved the Xbox One.
I still do. Yeah.
And I use a 1S, of course, now. But
yep. Like Mary Jo, I have 3 of those in my house.
Yeah, I definitely do.
I just want to thank Mary Jo for not yawning audibly during this segment.
Well, you instructed her not to even look at me.
No, you can. You can look at him. I was joking. It's fine now. Him flipping the microphone around helped a lot. What is the future for the Xbox? We've got Scorpio. Project Scorpio for next year, right? That's a completely
it's 4K
redesigned
gaming.
Yeah,
which I heard is literally going to be 4K gaming and also VR capabilities, whatever form that might take.
You know, I'm sitting here, and please don't get mad at me, but I'm sitting here looking at a PlayStation 4 Pro thinking, should I buy this and PlayStation VR? And I just got the 1S, but I have a 4K TV, but they don't have a UHD drive in the Sony, oddly enough. They have a Blu-ray drive in it, and I have the UHD in my Xbox One S, but I don't have 4K gaming. I've decided to wait for the Scorpio.
Interesting.
I am still
in. The one pull the PlayStation has is that VR stuff, and I wish Microsoft would kind of figure that out. Although there's a good chance it will follow what they're doing on Windows 10, right, where you have a variety of solutions, and maybe they'll be at
what about an AR? Price points. What about a HoloLens?
Yeah, I haven't said anything about that yet, but you would think, that would hopefully be part of it.
Yeah. So I'm going to hang in there. Is that the end of the line for the Xbox, or is?
Well, I mean, we can't say.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
15 years. It's been a great 15 years. It's just turning into a teenager. And
how many achievement points do you have now, Mary Jo?
Do you mean on tap badges?
Yeah, okay.
She's quick.
Those are my achievements.
She's quick.
Those are my achievements.
She's killing me on Untapped.
No, but you're catching up this trip.
She's killing me.
Sort of.
It's embarrassing.
Anything else to say about the Xbox?
No.
Yes.
Sorry.
There are two other things.
It's an anniversary, another anniversary, not just the 15th anniversary of the Xbox.
Right. So it's also the 1 year anniversary of backwards compatibility, meaning the Xbox One has the capability to play a selection of Xbox 360 games, which is pretty awesome. In sort of researching this, I had forgotten. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but the amount of games you could play from the original Xbox on the Xbox 360 was actually in the several hundreds. It was a really big number, and they're kind of cranking that up on the Xbox One now as well, so you can play the 360 games. So that's a pretty cool capability right there, right, Mary Jo?
Yeah.
She's literally writing an article.
I'm posting about some
So, all right.
Wait till they have that Untapped app on Xbox. Then.
Yeah.
Then you'll see.
Then we'll see.
Then you'll see.
Well, and then the final bit of news from the Xbox front. They also released not a major update, but a big system update for the Xbox One that they're calling the Holiday Update. And this isn't like the humongous thing like they did earlier this year, but they've added a bunch of new Xbox Live functionality for the most part, rare achievements, group messaging capabilities, etc. So kind of a refinement type support. Emoji keyboard, huge, obviously. Yep. So, yeah.
I'm helping.
And I don't know. Talked about this last week, but they're bringing and I think it's launched now. The the Xbox Insider program.
We did talk about that.
Is now available. Let's talk about it again. It's interesting.
We already talked about it.
Available to everybody.
Okay. We survived. Now, actually,
hey, look, if I can get the SQL Server on Linux, we could talk about anything.
Now we do our Bash Shell segment.
Yep. Bash Shell tip of the week.
Bash Shell tip of the week. Do you want to do? I see what's on next on the on the agenda.
Maybe you should do an ad so we can get ready.
All right.
For that.
Yeah, this is really going to be cool, but it's going to take some physical setup. So you guys, your mics are muted. You may. Let me just tell you, this is exciting. What you're about to see is truly exciting. Right?
You're assuming we're going to pull it off.
Well,
so,
pull it off. That would be exciting too.
Okay.
Coming up in just a bit, but first a word about my doorbell. You would think that's a kind of a prosaic subject. Earlier, I don't know if you heard it in the show. I quickly muted it. My phone went da-da-da. And you know why? Because somebody's at my door. Ringing on my doorbell. Because I've got the Ring video doorbell. I love the Ring. This is the greatest thing. When I put this in, it's almost a year now I put this in. A year ago. The Ring video doorbell, the idea is it replaces your existing ding-donger. And I bet you're willing to do that now. I remember when we moved in. You don't really think about the doorbell, but it seems to be my experience in every house I've ever lived in. The doorbell is kind of an afterthought. It's got old paint on it. It's kind of hanging off sideways. It's, it's kind of junky, right? It's the last thing. If you feel like it's the last thing the builder does is the doorbell. This is a massive upgrade to your old-fashioned doorbell. First of all, easy to do. I did it myself. I just took off the old doorbell. There were 2 wires coming out of the door jamb. I think it's an improvement in installation, even though I did it myself, because I attached the faceplate. And they give you everything you need here. There's a drill bit if you need one. There's a special screwdriver if you need that. There's even a level so you can do like a super pro job and all that. But so I took the wires. I trimmed them through this base plate, connected the terminals. Already, that's an improvement. I mean, these were just hanging out of the door. And then you connect the doorbell. And the Ring Video Doorbell is unique. Now, there's 2 models. This is the original Ring, which is what I use. I don't need to anymore, though, and I might replace it with a new Pro, because this is the one that has the battery in it. And the idea is you don't have to have a wired doorbell to use the Ring Video Doorbell. You can put it anywhere. This battery is lithium-ion, lasts a year, and you can, when it's time to recharge it, you just take it off, recharge it. You got another year out of it. It even comes with a cable for that. Standard micro USB charger. The reason it has a battery, or it's connected to the power on your doorbell, is inside it's got Wi-Fi, so you connect to your Wi-Fi. It's got a HD camera. It's got speaker and microphone. Now, all of a sudden, you've got this incredible thing on your door when somebody comes up to your door, even if they don't ring the doorbell because it's got motion sensors. That's one more thing. So even when they just kind of lurking around, you're going to see them. You can talk to them. You say, hey, what are you doing there? When they ring your doorbell, the guy who just rang my doorbell, the FedEx guy, I can say, I'm in the bath. Can you just leave it and I'll sign for it tomorrow? And I know Tony. He's a nice guy. He said, yeah, sure. You can keep an eye on packages. This is awesome. Ring also sells the Ring of Security Kit, which includes not only your doorbell, a lighted sign to let people know you're watching, and the Ring stick-up cam, which is essentially a Ring Video Doorbell minus the doorbell. The stick-up cam goes anywhere, so you can extend what you're seeing with a Ring Video Doorbell. And it also has a solar panel, so you don't even have to have a wire on it. You could put it on a tree. I'm not kidding. And it gets, as long as the solar panel can see the sun, it charges up in the day. Battery in it, runs all night. And now you can see, it joins the Wi-Fi. You can see, talk to, and hear anybody everywhere, just all around your house if you want. They also offer one more device, which is called the Chime. I should explain this if you see it on the page. You go to right now, ring.com/WW to get up to $150 off a Ring of Security Kit. If you go to the page, you will see the Ring Chime, which is really just an extension on the Ring Video Doorbell. It means that this will ring the chime in your house, but I think every house there's some dead spots, right? Maybe you don't hear the doorbell in your bathroom. Plug the chime into the wall there, attach it to your Wi-Fi, and now you will. I think it's great. Go to ring.com/WW. Look at all the kits. Get up to $150 off one of them. The Ring of Security Kits. The Ring Video Doorbell, the Ring Stick-Up Cam, the Chime, the Sign. I just think this is a company knocking it out of the park. And I'm really glad to have my Ring. In fact, so much so we've given it to other family members. Ring.com/WW. Windows Weekly is in Amsterdam today. Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley.
Yeah, I'll give you my headset.
They're arranging now for something very, very special, very exciting. Paul, you want to? Paul's putting on his headset. What's going on there, Paul?
All right, Leo, we're going to try something that's never been attempted before.
What?
We're going to try to demonstrate HoloLens over Skype.
What? All right.
Yes.
All right.
So who's with you? Introduce your guest, first of all.
Right. This is Rick. I'm going to mispronounce your last name. Slager?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Close enough?
Yeah. Good enough.
Okay. What is it really?
Rick Slager, or Rick Slager,
okay.
if we just
that's
pronounce it.
Slager. Come on.
From Wartel.
Yeah, exactly.
So what does
Wartel
do? I mean, this is
right.
like where you are, right?
That's correct.
Wartel is a Microsoft partner that helps customer create more value around their business through implementing technology like Office 365, Azure, but also building applications business applications and also HoloLens applications, and that's what we're trying to show right now.
Right, and the interesting thing here is, to me, is that we're talking about HoloLens applications in real world use cases. Like these are actual,
exactly,
real world HoloLens implementations.
Wow. So yeah, we'll try to somehow stream that video through you guys.
I think I can do it. I see it. So
you see
is that what Mary Jo's holding?
Maybe if she put up.
Oh, it looks like it froze. It looks like it froze. I was seeing her boots.
Yep.
And see if you can unfreeze it here.
Yep.
Because we will see what Mary Jo is seeing.
Exactly. Yes. That's the idea.
Never have done this ever before. This is a first. So she was earlier seeing her boots, but now she should be seeing the back of your guy's head.
Yes.
And then something superimposed on it, right?
Well, eventually, yeah.
Eventually, yeah. Let me just
and you'll see what you'll see is hopefully is the interface that comes up where she can select which application to run. There's a kind of a grid of icons, and you can go through an all apps list as well. And then the holograms will come up. Yeah.
This is kind of cool. I mean, I love this idea.
All right, here we go.
You think we got it? Oh, we do. So that's Mary Jo's view.
Yep.
What? So now we can see the audience. Hey, everybody!
Right. Hey. Settle.
All right. So that gray box that I'm seeing, that's actually the
No. That gray box is just a menu just floating around above the audience that's been left around. People play with the HoloLens and they leave all virtual.
But it's not real. It's part of the hologram projection, because from what I'm seeing, it looks like there actually could be a gray box in the audience.
This thing. Exactly. My hand goes just through.
That's wild.
Screen that she can close.
Okay.
Actually, if she looks more onto the floor right in front of her, there, and maybe she backs up a little bit, there should be a tiger around there. It's a little difficult. This is the funny thing. If I walk with this device through the... There it is. So we can see this. Obviously, she's the only one that's able to see this.
Right.
And she can walk around where she faces the front of the tiger.
This is wild.
And this is just a simple demonstration of having virtual objects throughout your room.
But what about... Wait a minute. This is not... Where's the mail slot thing? This is a full screen view. Is that a different thing than Mary Jo's seeing?
Yeah, right. So maybe Mary... Well, we can't hear her, but... Yeah, so what Mary Jo sees is a holographic
3D projection of this.
Yeah, so we're seeing it, the full effect. She is seeing it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we can't really hear her, unfortunately.
And we have to.
Sorry. So what she was saying is she's seeing something roughly. I think
she doesn't see, but does she see a full picture of the rest of the room and just the hologram is? Yeah.
No, it's not virtual reality. She sees the room. It's just like glasses, but there's something projected within the room.
And the tiger is only within a smaller field on the overall view.
That's correct.
Got it.
And if she looks a little bit more into to the distance, there should be a
ballerina there.
Yeah, and
this place is haunted.
Yeah,
it is actually fascinating.
And actually, when you click on it,
this
is always an interesting.
How do you click with your hand?
That she's going to attack.
So it's you put up your finger and then you click. Yeah, and I think this is going to work.
She's not going to.
What the what? She disappeared.
And now suddenly she's gone. What did you do? No.
Get the Ouija board out. We'll get her back.
What? This is wild.
Maybe walk up to it and.
So when she moves her head, the ballerina will move in and out of that mail slot. She'll disappear as her field of view changes. But as long as she's looking at that ballerina in that particular area of the view, she'll be there.
There's no way to actually display the
limit
I
understand.
Of which is right through
but if you think of a kind of a rectangle, like a mail slot, superimposed.
No, I know, but she has a limit.
A limited view.
Yeah, but we can't show that.
No, because there's actually a camera right in front of.
Yeah, we're seeing a live feed from the camera.
Yeah, so it's not what she sees through her eyes. It's just a camera right above her.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see a shark floating in the audience.
Exactly. Yeah.
Guys, watch out!
Maybe you can walk up to the shark.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Wow, and then she's wandering around.
She's untethered, Leo.
She's. That's the other thing that's cool. She can just wander around in this.
Yes, and they're, like we said, the whole church here is full of junk that people left, virtual junk that
these people
left
have no idea how much danger they're in.
and a little bit more to the right, up to the right, you will see a satellite, I believe. And so there's all kinds of other things floating around, and obviously these are not useful things. This is fun. This is fun for the kids, and they love it.
Right.
They asked one for Christmas, so I had to disappointment a little bit. We've got an astronaut. Yeah. You can click the astronaut too, actually, and it will start waving at you.
So it's a video, in effect.
It's a virtual video and you can walk all around it. It's a 3D video, so obviously we can only see it through as in a 2D motion. But
but she can move around it. Yeah.
Yeah, she can move it around and then see it from all different sides.
Yeah.
Right. It's not one of those old video games where these things were actually flat textures. It's a 3D object in space. Well, projected as if in space, I guess.
Yeah. So this is. There's a little bird right on the table. Actually, maybe.
That's funny.
So this is just a fun bit, and obviously this is not for businesses something they would generally use, I think. But we built some other applications which are also publicly in the store at this moment. One of them is AMS Holo ATC, which is a demonstration app that we build. If you want to read about it on a blog, go to local Joost. He wrote all about the building process of the application. And what you will see is Schiphol Airport here is the major hub airport, and we see live data of all the aircrafts flying around.
This is what you demoed earlier.
Yeah, this is what
so we can't show them this.
We can actually show you that.
So while she's you'll have to help her get it set up.
So Joe, go stand behind the guys because I want to see you.
Yeah. What it is it's a live view of the airport. You see the conning tower.
So if you
and the planes that are in the air where they're supposed to be holographically.
And go to the plus
That was
sign.
a good view there. We just set up. Yeah, there you go.
Is this the Windows holographic interface that we're looking at?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. This is the menu, and then we go to AMS logo. And now we start up one of the screens. And
that's crazy, huh?
What do you? I'll ask Mary Jo afterwards, but so screen's loading, made with Unity, personal edition, just floating in the air. It's just floating in the air. That's so amazing.
So within a couple seconds, we'll have a view of the map of Schiphol Airport. We'll see a little church. It's actually located right on top of us, and that little church is the exact same spot where we are at this moment.
So she moves closer, it gets bigger. Within the limits of the frame in her view, right?
Yes.
So then at some point it would clip it. It would go outside the range.
Above my head, you can see a plane coming in.
Oh yeah.
So it's just a wide little, and she can move up closer to it, and we'll see what type of airplane it is.
Let me get out of the way so I don't hurt it.
Do I need to do anything?
No. And if you come on close, you can.
Oh yeah, there's a little above it. There's the.
Yeah, so the image quality is much clearer what she sees instead of what.
Can you see the little people on the plane?
I can. They're screaming.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry about that.
They're terrified right now.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So we can see the trail lines of the airplanes. We can see which airplane they are, which it is.
You can see another one coming in. So it's sort of like almost like a landing pattern.
If you look a little bit up, you see one just going up really high. You can follow the trail lines.
Oh, yeah.
It's just.
So is this real-time data or is this canned?
Yeah, this is real-time data.
Holy cow!
And since we're really near Schiphol Airport, we can actually look at the glasses and then hear them coming over.
Right.
Oh
they
my
can look
God.
out the window, and see the same planes.
Oh my God! This is the future of UI. You totally can see that. I mean,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and we can interact with this. We can show the same data on a Surface Hub, and then have an 84-inch TV screen, interact with that data, see these 3D images on a 2D screen, but also use Power BI, for example, make some analytics behind it, and interact with that data, and we can show that live on the HoloLens again. Right. Or we have people that walk in the field, have their cell phone, select one of the airplanes, and interact with the holographic environment. And this shows basically that all types of different devices can interact and make you see and experience something that we all experience normally in 3D too. And this can make better decisions.
Right.
Especially in critical, fast decision making.
Do you see maybe air traffic controllers maybe even using something like this?
I would love to talk to these guys and show this, because we can do all kinds of things with this. Make a cone around the airplane, so if they come too close, it's like you can actually see it instead of having a 2D radar image.
Right, just so they could be anywhere in space. Right,
and maybe put some weather data in there, like wind speed and that sort of thing. Think of it, and we can basically put it in there and show it and make live decisions. Instead of having to interpret all that 2D data, make it in our head into a 3D model, which is a great thing to do. But if I would give a child this, they would be able to steer the planes, or it shows like, hey, they're too close. There's no learning curve there.
Right. Yep.
That is so cool.
It's crashing. Come on, Doug.
But she's not controlling it. But you could see. I mean, there are all sorts of things applications for this. This is really amazing.
And this is air traffic, but police, military.
Yeah,
anything.
One of the other demos you have is the Minecraft version of Amsterdam, which is awesome. And you could kind of see how that might be used. You were talking about emergency services as an example, where you could see where ambulances or firemen or policemen were exactly in the city at any given time.
Yeah, and the Minecraft application is built by Geodan, another company we work together closely with, and we have the whole Netherlands in Minecraft.
Yeah,
and
it's 1-to-1, Leo. So it's actually literally the size of the Netherlands.
So you can walk through.
It's a long walk. Yeah.
So actually you can see one of the monuments within the Netherlands. So maybe we can show it by going in.
This is so much in our future. I mean, I really see the value of it. Oh, there's the gesture,
This is the thing. We need to clean up our screens, remove them first before we open something else.
So
it's funny because
it's kind of like an Italian hand gesture.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If I had a meeting where multiple people were and some Italians, I had to explain first what I was going to do.
Not saying anything about your parentage.
So yeah.
So again, the Windows holographic interface. I wish we had some way of superimposing the letter box that she's seeing, because this is much like the Microsoft demos on the stage, where you're seeing a full frame as if this stuff is superimposed on your full field of view, and you still have the full field of view, but the box, the controls, the things that are going on are inside a smaller clipped rectangle, roughly that size. I mean,
probably.
Is it? I mean,
we can ask Mary. So, Mary Jo, when you brought up that window, is it fair to say that you could see that window in its entirety? Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty big. I mean, that's a good chunk of the view.
I mean, you have to imagine you wearing glasses. If I look underneath my glasses or on top of my glasses, I don't see sharp.
Paul, you've turned into a voxel.
I'm a mountain inside Amsterdam.
It's difficult to see. Apparently, it's go right in front of it. This basically shows a bit of Amsterdam.
So cool. Right.
Is this the same one we saw before?
Yes.
Is this a Rijksmuseum here, or Rijksmuseum?
No, this is the Royal Palace, right?
Royal Palace. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and this is an early beta version, and imagine that you can put data on here too. This is just a static view, and there are some cars driving, but this is just fake.
This is Westworld, Leo.
Yeah.
Well, you can see in a few decades it is Westworld. I mean,
right, exactly.
Well, you're seeing folks watching this at home, and I know most people listen, but I hope at some point you'll get to see the video of this. It doesn't take much imagination to take this from, Pitfall on the Atari 2600 to modern, to Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And you can see, and that was what, 20, 30 years. You can see this, how this will evolve. That's just remarkable.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So these are the those colors are the ones that are scanned but aren't made into a nice view, because when they put in the data,
they prettied up the square basically.
And there's a community of students and anybody that wants to, that can claim a bit of their own street and then clean it up and make it into something that looks more exact. Yeah. Do be aware where you walk.
Yep. There you go. There's a square right there.
So there's other scenarios that we can do is where you have an engineer, for example, that needs to fix something, and you can always send your specialist everywhere. But what if you have a general engineer and you want to help them remotely? They can watch like you are watching now the screen, and they can interact with your 3D world, but also put up a model of the piece of equipment you try to fix, and show this is the screw you need to unscrew, and if you do that, this thing falls out, so be aware, and it could direct you to that same screw, and there's different applications we've built that way to interact with each other. So the specialist is somewhere in a different country, a different state, helping you, guide you.
They don't have to physically go there.
And that saves a lot of travel. And then you have maybe less specialists in a central location and have your generalists all around the world. That could save money. And so there's a lot of
amazing
scenarios around that too.
I love that gesture. I'm
dismissing it.
Yeah, it's to describe it for people listening. It's you kind of. It's an Italian gesture. It's you take your fingers are all pursed together and you open them up like an explosion, and it's just
it's called Bloom. Microsoft called it Bloom, where you put all your fingers together and you open up
flowers blooming
like a flower. So that's the official name. We can go back into the menu. One other application I always show, and it's more a demo application. You don't have to just go back in the menu and open Cube Bouncer. It's a little demo application because you have these 3D virtual objects in your room, and they can interact with your physical room. I can bounce. So
she should go to. She should be in front of a table or something, so you can see.
So we can clutter up this space with blocks of virtual blocks everywhere.
She's saying no. She's shaking her head.
Now go for the plus sign, and then.
Do you find it takes people a while to get used to this UI, or do they pretty quickly?
This is the funny thing. I've noticed I've done a lot of demos with people, and I just recently did one at my children's school. 8-9-year-olds. It was amazing. I just told them once what they had to do, and they just flew with it. I just immediately got it, and I didn't actually have to help them.
He's saying we're old, Leo.
That doesn't surprise me.
I didn't say that, but I was just amazed how quickly they got it, and how just easily they used the gestures. Without. So it's the green one on the left, Cube Bouncer. This one is also created by Local Jost in Twitter on his blog. You can also find all the information. He would built that.
He would be here today.
He would. He just came from the US. So he's a little jet lagged. So unfortunately.
Well, he'll be here virtually.
He's going to be virtually through his applications. He's definitely here. So if we look into the audience there, then.
Kill them with blocks.
Yeah, just start killing them with blocks. I'm not sure if this is the best way to announce that. Just give it a couple seconds, and there we got some blocks, and some person was in the way sitting there. So
because they're causing.
So with the gestures too, you can move the blocks around, and it will hit the wall and it will bounce off. And this is just a demo application to show the interactions between the physical world and the virtual world. And the funny thing too is you can drop them, and you can individually drop them by looking at one and then say drop, and so you get voice commands. And you see that it falls right through on the floor on the. I'm not sure where it is right now.
Right.
But also move around, because this is the funny thing. What everybody does, they keep standing in one spot. It's like no. This is in your 3D environment. You can actually walk around it, and you see that one block. You saw quickly. Yeah.
So Mary Jo, try the drop all.
Yeah, we can make it even more of a mess by saying drop all.
Oh, wow. Oh.
So things fall on the table. Things fall on the ground.
Conforming to the environment. That's really interesting. Yeah.
So it falls on top of things, and that's the beauty of showing this application. And I love this because, my kids can play all day with virtual objects, and at the end of the day, I say, clean up, and everything is gone. And so this is the ideal world for any parent that don't want to have their room just being one big mess after they played. And then we can say total recall, and just as a little fun to put them back into the right space. So this is just a fun app, just to show people how the application can interact and imagine what your application can do.
That's awesome.
Cool. So cool.
So and I think she can play there for another hour. So, leave her there.
Just leave her there.
Just keep showing the feed what she's doing.
Yeah. Really neat. Did she have to walk over to them to be able to manipulate them, or can you move them to you?
No, what she does is she can hit it with the gesture or basically clicking, and then it will shoot out.
She's in a way confusing the virtual world with the real world by walking up to it.
Yeah, she can do that.
Yeah.
But she also has there's a cursor, so if the little circle is on the object,
So basically, when you move your mouse, you do that with your hand. What you do here with your head, you look at a certain object. Right. So your cursor is your head moving and looking at a specific thing.
Can you walk right through the blocks without destroying all the audio equipment in front of you?
Don't trip over on all the wires. So you can just go through them. It just feels weird for the person doing it. But
now turn around. Is it a disaster?
No. I mean, it doesn't scan that quickly. Yeah. Okay. So you can scan the environment constantly or have it scan at a certain interval. Because that takes a lot of resources, scanning it constantly.
That's so funny.
You're somewhat limited by the power of the hardware as it is. I mean, they had to make this fit into a visor and run on battery power.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, but it's 4 hours, so that's pretty good.
But in order to get 4 hours, of course, you constrain the speed of the processor and the amount of RAM and all of that. So you have constraints. I wonder, would there be a tethered HoloLens? What if the Scorpio has a tethered HoloLens type?
Sure.
Device.
Can you speak to Microsoft's future plans, please?
Yeah, right.
Well, you must feel a little bit frustrated by the lack of horsepower, right? You'd like more horsepower, I'm sure.
I would love to, but we haven't run into huge problems. And yes, if you have a model is like every screw, every wire on the screw is a part of a 3D model, yes, that becomes way too huge. Right. So what I do see is then when we get models that are that big with that much detail, is replace a lot of that detail, get a general layout, and then only if you zoom into a specific area, then you get that detail of that screw and actually all the wires of that screw. So it's making sure which detail do you want to see if you look at the whole model.
And, Microsoft has spoken vaguely about tethering capabilities down the road. They're going to have Windows holographic devices of all kinds, and we probably will see devices that are less capable and more capable too.
Yeah, and I think we're just on the start of a roadmap that's going to get really interesting scenarios. And another thing is the device works great indoors. I've seen many scenarios that would love to work with it outdoors, but if we have full sunlight, blue skies, the image is too weak to display. There's no GPS in it. So what it does, it makes a wireframe of this environment, and that's why it knows where it is. So there's no positioning through a certain GPS.
Right.
There's lots of ideas around that. Obviously, I can use my phone, which has GPS, and hook that up through Bluetooth. But then it doesn't know where I'm looking. It knows where I'm positioned as a person, but not where my eyes are looking. So there's definitely ideas that hopefully Microsoft picks up in the next version. We'll have to see. And as we said, we'll just keep this feed on, and she can just keep on playing with this.
It's not a ball pit, so don't jump into that.
She's trying to clean up, I think.
Yeah.
I think getting out of the application is easier to clean up.
Right.
So these are just some of the basic applications, and we're building more applications for more organizations. And there's
awesome
fun things in the near future.
Pretty good.
Really cool. Wow.
Yeah.
This is amazing that you could do this over Skype. It kind of blows my mind. And Mary Jo didn't want to take it off, but we made her.
Okay.
Bring it home.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess.
Thank you. That's great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
And that's WORTELL.
That's right.
And that's your hosts tonight for our show. And they make this kind of stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so,
incredible.
Mary Jo, did you not want to take it off, or were you kind of done by the time you...
I liked it. I thought it was kind of cool.
You didn't get nauseous or anything, or...
No. And I've worn those glasses a couple times for demos, and today was the first day it didn't hurt my head.
Did you wear them over your spectacles?
Yeah, I wore them over my glasses. And the trick seems to be to tighten the band around your head and not make it just like rest on top of your glasses.
Yeah, because there's two parts,
Yeah,
right?
There's two parts.
So the band on your head is not the same as the part that comes down, the visor part.
It was good.
Yeah, there you go.
How hard was it to...
We're going to show you the band in the back.
You can see there's two. Right, so this part goes over your head, and you can tighten it here.
Yeah.
And then you just basically swivel the visor part up or down.
Yep.
Am I wasting energy talking about the limited field of view versus the full field of view that we see on the Skype? Does it, from your point of view, Mary Jo, as a user, is it not an issue?
I think you get accustomed to it pretty quick.
Yeah, that's what he had said earlier. Yeah. We stepped through some of these demos earlier, and he was saying that, if you've seen those videos where it's the full frame and you put this thing on, you think, oh, it's really limited. Yeah. But then, the central amazing thing about HoloLens, of course, is the way that the 3D objects connect with reality. Mm-hmm. And so if you have a hologram that's sitting on a table and you move around the table in any way, it really roots itself to that surface, and it's kind of amazing. Yeah. And I think you probably...
I didn't feel dizzy, for sure.
No, but I mean, I think if you perceive that field of view as a limitation at first, over time, what's happening is so amazing.
And the more you back up, like we've said before, you see bigger. But, when Microsoft does the demos, it's special cameras, and they're showing an embellished video.
And this was basically a Skype camera. I mean,
this was the real one. Like what you just saw is exactly what I just saw.
This is how they did the moon landing, Leo.
Well, but it is and it isn't, though, Mary Jo, right? Because we don't get the sense of clipping that you're getting.
Feel that. Yeah.
Because you're getting a clip.
I mean, in other words, she means if you're looking at the boxes.
Oh, I see.
You're probably maybe not seeing the top.
No, you're not. You have to raise and lower your head and turn.
And it's not disconcerting. It's not.
No, you just kind of get used to it pretty quick. Yeah.
That's really. That's exciting. I feel like we're seeing, even more so than VR, we're seeing a glimpse at the future with this.
Right. It's really impressive.
Yep.
Well, neat. I'm just trying to get a sense from of Mary Jo's experience. How hard was it to use? I noticed you have some gesture issues. Tricky.
That gesture is hard. Yeah. That you're supposed to do this or
this. What is that called? This it's just selection.
The click.
Click. Yeah.
It's a little easier if you do that, but I know Microsoft has a peripheral that's a clicker. That I think I would like. Being a mouse person, I think I would like that better.
So you could hold something in your hand that you could point and move.
It seems like you really have to have your arm. Is it better to have your arm out?
You have to have directly? You have to be like in the vision of the camera, right? So
there were a couple of times we could see it. Your hand enters into the frame.
Yeah, it's hard. That's a little tricky. I think that's the thing that would take me the longest to get used to. Okay. The bloom, no, that's easy.
Because you've been doing that your whole life.
My whole life. Don't want to say what that means, but
I know. And then I could see if you were doing a lot of that, you'd get kind of tired. Like,
a clicker, I think, would be helpful.
The clicker would be good.
I'm so jealous. I want to try it. I'm so jealous you got to spend all that time playing with it.
Come over.
Come to Amsterdam, Leo.
That's another reason to be jealous. It feels to me like because you do have to compromise in order to make this thing as portable as it is. And I know ultimately that is certainly one of the most useful form factors. But it feels to me like they could offer this for even $800 and $900 on the Scorpio next year using all the processing power tethered. And it would be a very interesting, compelling experience because you can do a lot of this without moving around.
Yeah, you could.
I mean, minimal movement, you know.
Yeah.
Yep. Call of Duty, Leo. It's the future.
Well, wouldn't that be interesting, Paul? I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd have to rethink games because Call of Duty, you want to see everything. Well, I'd have to actually
be in shape, Leo. I'd have to like run and jump the walls, so like go to actual war.
Well, I think, for instance, there's a really great mobile game called Run Zombies Run for runners, and you put on your headphones and you're running, but you're listening. It's like you're listening to music, except you're not. You're listening to almost a radio drama, but it's audio only, but you're in it. It says, "Oh, there's zombies up there. You better turn around and go back the other way." And you're immersed in this. It takes your mind off the running, and you're in a game. Imagine, I mean, if you could actually see them, and you're in. Now, I guess there'd be some risk of running into the road, but. You're still seeing, unlike VR, you're seeing the road. I mean, it's not like you're...
Right.
Yeah.
So moving around, did you feel it all difficult? You knew where you were in space, right?
Yeah, right. The only difficulty was me not tripping on all the cords. But
she has had a couple of beers. So.
I've had a couple of beers, and I'm always somebody who falls down.
Yeah.
So. Not because of beer, just in general.
Right.
But no, it was really easy to move around. It wasn't disorienting. I could see leaving that headset on longer than I always thought I could previously.
Yeah, that's another question, right? VR, you get tired after a while.
No, it was like resting on my forehead and not on my bridge of my nose or my glasses, so that was good. Because if it's resting there, it would be very tiring.
Yeah,
it was light.
Rick said 3 hours was kind of the
It didn't hurt my neck or anything. I could see doing that for a while. It would be okay.
Yeah.
And you'll build up neck muscles.
Right, your neck will get some neck muscles.
Walking around.
You'll have like this corded neck. You know?
What have you been doing? Well, I work in an office, but I have to wear a HoloLens all day. It's not that heavy, though.
Your one arm is really strong.
No, it's not heavy. Yeah. No, not heavy.
See, like something like the HTC Vive is heavy, and it's sweaty, and after a while, and it's nauseating. So after a while,
the triple threat.
It's really not. You go, okay, I'm done. And then, and I'm curious about this. There's something that we don't talk a lot about after you use a virtual reality headgear or in a simulated environment called simulator sickness, which is afterwards you're disoriented. Do you experience that with the HoloLens? I would guess not.
I didn't.
You didn't take it off and go, where am I? Because you never left.
Right.
If I shake you a little bit, is it weird?
No. So and the thing, I get motion sick at the drop of a hat. Like I can't even ride a Ferris wheel without getting ill. So this is a good test.
Right. We should do a hologram Ferris wheel and see how you're doing that.
Ooh, you might not like the results. But yeah, it felt the most comfortable of any of the 3 times I've tried this.
Yeah. But it's the same model, right? It's just that you're getting used to learning how to wear it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this time we had someone who knew what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Is there audio? Is there audio in that or no?
Yeah, I could hear audio.
Yeah, it's positional audio, right? So the idea being that if, in the case of those planes, if they're pinging or whatever, that as you move around, it will always be in the correct place in space.
Like when the blocks were falling, I could hear them going like bloop, bloop.
Really?
Bloop, bloop.
Oh, that's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I just thank our friends at Wortel for. I can't believe we were just able to do a HoloLens demo in real time on Skype.
I know. That was pretty amazing. I think we should have some applause for that.
Yeah. We'll see what those
absolutely.
We'll see what those guys on Mac Break Weekly do today.
Yeah, what are those officers going to do?
Actually, we'll be looking at the new Touch Bar MacBook Pro because I happen to have one right here. So maybe
imagine if you could touch the whole screen, Leo.
I know, it's kind of weird. The jury's out. There are a few apps though where there is some useful, and what's really interesting. It has autocorrect, so as you type, just like on your smartphone, you get autocorrect suggestions on the bar. So I think if you got used to it being there and kind of understood what was going to happen when you used it, I think you'd get used to it. I kind of like it.
Does it have holograms later?
No, and it's not a touch screen, but it is just about the most gorgeous screen I've ever seen. I mean, they've really done that part right.
Mary Jo doesn't care.
Yeah. I know. I'm not. You're going to be impressed by anything.
You have a very nice non-touch screen laptop in front of you right now, which I happen to love. That HP Spectre 13T. Although I use it with Linux on it, as you know. If you ever want a little help, Antergos Linux runs beautifully on that.
You're like in the Linux distro of the week club or something. Every time I talk to you,
that's the beauty of Linux. There are many choices.
Yeah,
many choices. I pretty much use Antergos full time. I even contribute to them because they're on Patreon and stuff. So I like them. Okay, what? Windows 10. Are we getting a new insider build today?
No, we are not.
Okay.
Or at least we did.
You lied.
Yeah, well, the thought was maybe we would. We got nothing. Sorry.
All right. Let's move on then. Kaspersky. We talked about this yesterday on Security Now.
All right. So I'm very curious to hear what Steve had to say about this.
He said basically I think he probably had the same take as you did. Kaspersky has been a long-time antivirus company. They've been, around forever. It was John C. Dvorak's favorite antivirus for a while, but now that I know he's in Putin's pocket, I understand why. Oh,
John
no, that's
C. Dvorak?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's Trump. I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Yeah. No, they're close.
I think they're related. Anyway.
They have similar. Yes.
So is it Eugene, Mr. Kaspersky?
Eugene Kaspersky, yep.
Yeah. Complained bitterly this week about Microsoft's bundling of an antivirus in Windows. And I think mostly Steve understood, as I think you do, but mostly Steve said, well, Microsoft does this in a very orderly fashion. They've been warning everybody about this forever. And one of the real issues from a security angle of antivirus software is in order for it to do its job, it has to hook deep into the operating system. And as we know, over the last few generations of Windows, Microsoft's been making it harder and harder for third parties to get into the kernel.
Right.
And they've been warning us, and they've been saying, next generation, it's going to be, you're not going to be able to. And so it's not like this should be a surprise for Kaspersky. I personally think Microsoft is doing the right thing. I've always said, viruses are a mess they have to clean up as the operating system company. It has to start with Microsoft. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for his point of view, except that. Well, he had.
Well, by the way, everything you just said is right, and I agree with all of it. There is a second part of the argument which I think is a little bit of a grayer of an area, and that's just that I think we can all agree that Windows 10 can be somewhat antagonistic toward users, toward upgraders, and also to third-party applications. And one of the goofy things that happens when Microsoft has only this one version of Windows, where they actually have released 3 major upgrades to it, those are major upgrades, and a lot of your defaults get reset at that point. And so it's not just security software that's a big issue. It's photo software, it's all kinds of web browsers and other things. And so there are instances where people's defaults are getting reset And that's one of the complaints that he has, that it's a little too aggressive with that kind of stuff. And it silently switches from a third-party antivirus to Windows Defender without even warning the user and so forth. Right. So I think this is something that's easily fixed. I don't think there's like an endemic problem with Windows or whatever with Microsoft. I think this is just, something I think they just address it.
The other point he made, which
I just lost your audio, Mary Jo. I don't know why. Did you mute?
No. You're lost.
Yeah. I mean, I understand why Microsoft does that, because they understand that normal users don't know what the hell's going on, and they're just doing the best they can to give normal users real protection, and instead of assuming that a normal user is going to figure it out.
Tried unplugging him. We're going to do the classic.
Watch the beer. Watch the beer. Oh my God. The other thing Steve said, which I thought was really good, is you don't want a monoculture. So if you only have one antivirus, that makes it easier for the bad guys.
And that's one of the points that Kaspersky makes as well. I mean, granted, this guy is a business case. He wants people to use third party.
Yeah.
No, but the thing he did say that was a little odd, I thought, was he said Microsoft should go slower with updates so that the antivirus companies have time to make sure they're compatible.
Yep.
And it seems like if they aren't they doing first ring like everybody else?
I was going to say Windows 10 is developed in public.
Right.
Transparently.
They could be an insider. They kind of should have some people who are insiders.
He made a comment about how they had done something 1 week before Windows 10 whatever shipped with 1607, and I'm sorry, that's just implausible. But
so that was
but
we should remember he comes from Russia,
right?
And this essentially is encouraging the Russian government.
Leo, that got a little bit of a go off from the audience.
I don't know how they stand in Holland about it. But
I'm sensing a shift in the crowd, Leo.
No, I love Russia. No, it's a great country with great people. They're great. They're unbelievable. But I do think that this is as much aimed at getting the government to act as it is to end users. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, by the way, what he did clearly was aimed at the EU antitrust
regulation. He also did U.S. antitrust
and Russia, and also, but he's not going to get anything.
No, U.S. won't do anything about it.
But Russia's gone up against Microsoft in the past.
Yep. Russia's, they'll be very aggressive, but the EU is interesting because they're going after American tech companies right now. They're going after Google with at least 3 different cases. They're looking at Apple. They're looking at Amazon. You could kind of imagine them kind of falling, and I know it's falling for
being sympathetic.
Being sympathetic. Thank you.
Trying to help.
Yep. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I don't think this requires any, this isn't going to be billions of dollars in fines and 10 years of remedial, behavioral
But
change,
I'd hate to see the result being, just as they did with Internet Explorer, let's have a menu.
A ballot box, that's what we need.
Yeah.
I think that this is a different thing than a browser.
Sure.
This is a fundamental issue of security and keeping your users, as Microsoft, secure. And I don't think any government should weigh in and force something that's good for the market and bad for security. That's not a good solution. And so this is not about economics at this point. Microsoft made this problem. They need to fix this problem, and they need to make it easy for users to stay safe. That's their job.
I agree with you. It's just that most third-party antivirus, anti-malware solutions are probably better than a Defender, and they also have additional functionality that Microsoft doesn't provide. So there's a case to be made for third-party paid antivirus.
Absolutely.
I don't think any of us like the...
So Eugene, make your product better than Defender.
Yeah.
Well, he's saying that Defender just disables them whether they're better or not, and that can be fixed. I agree.
But that's what I mean. Right? Yeah. I think some of these fixes are easy to make.
Same.
But we all know, and we've all faced the issue of multiple antiviruses on a single machine. That's not a good solution because they see each other as viruses.
Right.
So, and I don't think it's aimed at Kaspersky. I think it's aimed at McAfee and Norton, to be honest.
Interesting.
Kaspersky's a very lightweight, effective antivirus.
Right.
I think the best solution is to make a better product for and make a product that, and then make Microsoft allow you to offer it and have it work. But on the other hand, if to be a successful antivirus, you have to have low-level kernel access. That's another problem.
Right.
We've seen companies mishandle that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Anyway, Steve and I and you obviously have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
No, I think we're actually all on the same page.
I think so too. Yeah. Cloud. Oh, this is all Mary Jo now.
Right.
Let Mary Jo.
It is.
Let Mary Jo.
Want me to whip through this?
What do we have here?
What do you got left? Go ahead.
I'll just drink something else. You'll be fine.
You will. This week, Microsoft announced a new service that's a bot as a service for Azure, which is kind of interesting. So they took the Microsoft bot framework and they melded it with Azure. It's running on top of this service called Azure Functions, which is like AWS Lambda, if you know what that is, a serverless compute service. And so they have this thing now called Azure Bot Service, which is for building, connecting, deploying, and managing intelligent bots. And you can do it now from Azure and not just only from the Microsoft's bot developer toolkit. So that's out this week in a preview form, I believe. You can try that out if you're interested in bots. What else? There's also an interesting announcement about a new service coming to Office 365 Business Premium, which is one of Microsoft's small business plans of Office 365. They're adding a thing called the Outlook Customer Manager. And it's a customer relationship management tool that's now going to be built right into Outlook. So it's going to use things like your emails if you wanted to, and your meetings and tasks, and put them all in one place adjacent to your Outlook if you are on Office 365 Business Premium. Microsoft said that also might come to some other Office 365 plans like E3 and E5, but it's not there yet. And then speaking of EU regulators, as we just were, today there was a story in Reuters that said Microsoft is already making concessions to the EU Antitrust Commission to try to win approval for the LinkedIn deal. So at first, everyone thought that was just going to sail through, I think. It sailed through in the U.S., it sailed through in Canada, and it sailed through in Brazil. But once Mark Benioff from Salesforce got involved and started stirring the pot, now the EU seems to be dragging their feet a little bit about this. And should Microsoft be able to just
this
buy
is just
LinkedIn?
Like the Kaspersky thing, in that you can tell he's using the right language.
Oh yeah, he is.
You know, you can almost hear the ears.
He's writing a brief for them. You know,
he is right. He's gone out and solicited other companies to complain about Microsoft buying LinkedIn. And
on what
said
grounds?
He has done.
Well, he hates Scott Guthrie.
No. So Microsoft competes with Salesforce. They have a CRM product. Salesforce tried to buy LinkedIn and Microsoft beat them out on the deal. And so now Mark Benioff is saying, we think Microsoft's going to withhold the data and we're going to be out because we currently can link into LinkedIn and we think Microsoft's going to block us. So Microsoft has said that's not their intention and they're going to make the data available. They didn't say for free, but they said they will. So it's kind of a tit for tat thing with Mark Benioff and Microsoft.
By the way, I think the resolution here is the same. Microsoft can just formally say, we will. We are promising.
I think that's what they'll do.
Yeah, I think that might be what the concession.
The concession may be put it in writing that you're going to make the data available. I don't know what it is.
I think that would do it.
So we think by early December, we're going to find out for sure if the EU regulators are going to just stamp it and say, go for it, Microsoft, or they're going to prolong this and make Microsoft make more formal concessions and look deeper into the case.
Yeah.
Not a big deal, in other words. This sounds like...
it's hard to know.
It's hard to say. This is one of those things that could spiral, but...
I think it could spiral, too. Yeah. So, the EU regulators don't love Microsoft, as probably everyone in this room knows. Yeah. So, that's your cloud. That's your cloud update. That was so much shorter and less painful than the Xbox update.
It would. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Paul's assaulting the very fundamentals that made this country great.
Yep, it gets personal really quick around here, Leo.
Let's talk about Surface Plus Mobile.
Okay.
Well, we don't have to. I'm sorry, Paul. Are we keeping you up?
Dying.
Okay.
Are we keeping you from your beer? What did you pour?
I didn't pour anything.
You didn't. That's why you signed.
You've got all these different bottles. I'm so jealous. I wish
Angel of Harlem. That's a great name for it.
I just want to reach through the screen and grab one of those.
If you had a HoloLens, you could.
Have you been drinking delicious coffee too? Because they're known for their delicious coffee as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Very good.
Okay. Yep. Surface and mobile.
Okay. So, anybody in the audience Surface Pro 3 users?
Oh,
because
that's mean.
That device has been having some problems with battery issues, and Microsoft did fix one of the battery issues. They said for people who had Simplo batteries. And last week, they quietly fixed the other set of battery issues, they say, for people who had the other kind of batteries, the LGC batteries.
I think this fix might also fix a problem they caused by fixing the Simplo battery.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think this might be a fix of a fix.
Of the battery issue. Right. So they put this out as a firmware update. They didn't really talk about it. They just kind of silently put that out there and said, anyone with a Surface Pro 3 should apply this fix, even if you've already put the first battery fix on. And they claim this should fix the issue where your battery looks like it's draining really fast, or is in some cases draining really fast, and you can't even recharge the Surface Pro.
I just hope Steve Martin's listening, because that was his big complaint. I hope he did.
You've talked about this a few times. It seems to me like Steve Martin could afford a new Surface.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not just saying that buying something new is always the solution, but
I think part of the problem is if you buy one for one house, you got to get it for all the houses.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I don't know. He's got it just like he wants it, right? And it works. It does what he wants. I have a feeling there's no. I asked him that. I said, "Well, just get the new Surface Pro 4." But I think he's happy. It's pretty beat up looking, but he writes scripts on that. That's what he's writing on that. So not just scripts.
It's personal
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you, Mary Jo, you're a writer.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Paul. That was so mean. I shouldn't have done that.
Oh, I didn't even take it.
Neither did I until
I said it. Okay. You're a writer, you guys. Don't you get it when you get an environment just so you just don't want to mess with it because it's
right? You don't.
It's not important.
Your notepad is set up in the perfect way. Right. You just want it to stay like that.
And so you're kind of loath to change anything, even if you're suffering with bad battery life, right?
Absolutely. You put up with things. Yeah. Right. Sure. I opened the Surface Book I'm using now, and it comes on as if it's booting for the first time, even though I just previously closed it.
Yeah,
that's weird. Yeah, mine's been pretty good. In fact, no battery issues. The Hello works really well now. It recognizes me right away every time. I'm pretty happy with it.
I just love it. I mean, the screen and the keyboard. It's perfect.
Don't tell it I'm getting a Surface Studio next month.
Are you?
It knows.
Yeah,
are you definitely getting it?
Well,
you
saw me order.
But I know some of them are delayed. I saw they ran out of stock.
What?
I saw that. So let me be the bearer of bad news.
Let me just check Outlook.com to see.
2018.
Yeah, I know. I saw some people till 2017.
Yeah.
Hey, I got the new Outlook. Wow. Wait a minute, that's not it. That's Choose Your HoloLens. That's not it. I got the new Outlook. The new Outlook is here. The new Outlook. That's it, right? It says Outlook Mail.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Wow.
I thought you had it already.
No. This is the first time I've seen it.
Cheers, Leo.
So what was the big deal?
Yeah,
not much.
I already want to go back to the old one.
I don't like it.
Right.
No, I should have an email, though, from the Microsoft Store, I would guess, if they've delayed it.
Yeah, maybe.
Thank you for pre-ordering the Surface Studio. It's a letter from Panos.
Right.
Panos himself.
Welcome to a new way of creating. Thank you.
Nice.
This is for being one of the first people on the planet to pre-order.
Is there a but anywhere in the sentence?
Yeah, I'm looking for the but.
But you might have to wait a little.
Soon. It says soon you will discover. Okay. Soon you will discover. How soon? I don't know.
Maybe this will be our next great demo on the show.
Yeah, you could demo the Surface Studio.
This email came today. So.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
That's good.
That's interesting.
So I think it's like, he's not breaking bad news or anything anyway. Let me check. I'll check the store because they had the delivery date when I ordered it was December 15th.
Mm-hmm.
But, the same thing happens with Google did it.
Yeah.
Everybody does that,
Yeah.
It's the way it is.
Did you get the dial?
Yeah, it comes with it. Yeah.
It comes. Oh, right. It comes with it. Yeah.
For now, I guess.
Yeah, free for now, right?
I think through December something.
Did you get the new keyboard that has that soft touch?
I got whatever it came with.
Yeah, no, you got the regular.
Oh, you didn't get the ergonomic one.
What? No.
Well, you could have.
No, I don't know.
Would you stop distracting him?
Not that thing. I didn't want that thing. Leo, that's me, right? Orders.
Yeah.
Let's see. Order history. Okay. Enter order number. I'm logged in. Oh, anyway, you guys keep talking.
Okay. So what else, Paul, about Surface?
Where are we? So almost a week ago, Microsoft started shipping the Surface Book with Performance Base, which is the new high-end version Surface Book with the 2 GB dedicated GPU, and the Surface Dial, which actually it works with other Surfaces, doesn't it? I've been saying this.
Well, it's going to after a firmware update or something.
Okay.
Right.
So they're shipping. The Surface Dial is actually only available in the U.S. and it's basically sold out. And so people who got it with the Surface Studio or ordered it right away are going to get it first, and then everyone else will get it later. And I guess starting at late this year. But I suspect the Surface Book with the Performance Base will be easy to get. Those are super expensive computers. So
yeah.
I think
did you get one to try?
No, I did not. $2,400 is the starting price on those.
It still says December 15th. So.
Yeah, so I think you're good.
That's good.
I think you're good.
You should be good.
I'm now looking at the specs and wish I'd spent more than $3,000.
Well, I recommend not changing your order if you want to get it.
It's an i5, 8 gigs of RAM?
Yeah.
What was I thinking? That's a lot of money for that. Wow.
Yeah. Well, you're paying for the screen.
It's the screen.
You get the hinge and the hinge.
I get the hinge.
Yep.
It's all about the hinge.
It is.
Well, they don't say anything about, they don't, no weasel words here, so I think I'm still on track.
You're good.
Yeah.
You did this. You must have done this on day one.
I know.
Did you? No, I did it when during the show. So that was.
But that might have been day one.
That was day one.
I think that was day one.
Okay, there you go.
It was the day of the event. Yeah.
Okay, that's right. It was the day of the event. You're right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's sold out now. You can't go there and order it now at all.
Right.
No.
Yeah, it's like Surface Hub.
Yeah.
You're in for a wait.
I try to get stuff right away, not because I want it right away, because generally speaking, you'd want to wait, make sure all the bugs were worked out, but I want to get a review unit so we can talk about it, right?
Yep.
And then finally, I'm a little disappointed because I have a Chromebook Pixel, really nice laptop. Right. It has the Android store. But I understand now, and Office is going to be somehow curtailed if I use it on it. It's because of the screen. They're doing that screen size thing, right?
Yeah, they really haven't changed the licensing, right? So if you have Office Mobile, it's free on devices with 10.1 inch or smaller screens, but it's also a limited set of functionality.
Yeah.
If you have a larger screen device, you have to pay to get Office 365 to get Office Mobile on that device. But even if you have a smaller screen device, to get the full range of functionality, you still need to have Office 365. So Microsoft, I think it was last week, but sometime in the past week, confirmed that this is still the case for Android Office apps running on Chromebook, which makes sense.
Right.
But the other thing they talked about, and this is something I hadn't thought about in a while, if you think back to when the Office mobile apps first started shipping, they shipped first on an iPad, right? And then they eventually went to Android and they went to the iPhone as well. The Android versions always took a longer time than the iOS versions, and part of it was this tailoring bit because there are so many different versions of Android devices, different screen sizes, different capabilities, that Office and other Android apps actually have to be, modified to ensure that they work properly with all of them. And so, again, it shouldn't be surprising in retrospect, but it was kind of interesting to hear them talking about Chromebook.
Yeah,
they're going to tailor the Office mobile apps, meaning Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Which are sort of separate from OneNote and Outlook, which also exist on Android, but those three apps anyway, specifically for the different Chromebook screen types and device types that will be running these Android apps by the time that functionality is generally available, which I think is going to be soon. I think it's happening this year. So it's strange to say. It's not as strange as the Linux stuff, but it's kind of borderline. They're working on Office apps that are going to run on Chromebooks.
Yep.
So there you go.
That makes sense, though, because see, this is the thing. It's now a laptop, right? It's not even a tablet. Now you're talking a laptop.
Yeah.
And I can understand why they'd be reluctant to cannibalize their laptop business. I'm a subscriber, so it doesn't affect me. But
it works like it does on Android. So if you somehow had an 11-inch Android device, which doesn't really exist probably, you would have to pay for that as well.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's exactly what those Chromebooks are. They're 11, 12, 13-inch Android devices, in effect. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Do you guys want to do the back of the book? Talk about some beer and stuff?
Sure.
You got everything done you wanted to do? You were dreaming of doing? You were planning?
Yeah.
Did this kind of live out the way you had imagined it all those days and weeks ago before you even arrived in beautiful Holland?
It's going to be hard It's going to be hard to one up this with the HoloLens demo.
That's true.
That was pretty good.
Next week we're back home in our little cubby hole.
Boring.
Our sad little home.
I'm just going to unsubscribe to this show right now because
I would.
We've hit peak.
We've peaked
Windows Weekly. It's done. That was really amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, our show today, and you may drink it if you got it, brought to you by Audible.com. We're going to get you the free audiobook of your choice at Audible.com. Paul and I are big Audible listeners. Did you get something for your trip?
Yeah, so I've actually used this pick before, but I have to say it again because it's so awesome. And I just need to bring up my account so I can tell you what it is. I have, in some ways, never experienced a book like this. In fact, it's so good, I'm sort of suspicious of it. Like, it's almost too good, if that makes sense. It's called Console Wars, right? And
it's such a good book, yes.
But here's the thing I don't understand about it. It's so detailed in its remembering of conversations that people had, how people responded, the laughing they may or may not have done. And I think the first time I talked about this, I described the person who reads the book, who reads some Walking Dead audiobooks I found out as well. He sounds like that character who does the narration from Apocalypse Now. And it's kind of like The Martian in that it's this kind of great combination of great story, great reader, but it's too good. Like, it's too like the stories are too detailed. Like, I don't understand who recorded all this information that they have all this. They have very complex conversations.
Isn't it literary fiction or no?
No, it's supposed to.
No.
It's supposed to be, but you're right. It kind of sounds like that.
It almost feels like it.
Time Magazine, every Time Magazine article used to be like that, right?
Yeah.
President Nixon smiled as he sat down at his desk at the Oval Office that day. And I think it is a style. I interviewed Blake Harris, the guy who wrote this. I should have asked him about it. I didn't think to. Like, how did you?
I have just never experienced. Well, no, that's not fair. In the 1990s, late 90s, there were a lot of Microsoft books about, Bill Gates and the antitrust stuff, and it was like, Bill Gates was flying over the Atlantic and dreaming about whatever, and it's like, no, he wasn't.
He had his hand on his chin.
Yeah.
And it takes me out of the book because I think it, and then I go, well, wait, what? How do you know that? Yeah. But at the same time, it does bring a book alive and make it more fun to read.
This book's astonishing. I mean,
you grew up in this generation, so it's meaningful. This is your stuff, man.
It's really, really good.
Yeah. And it does talk about the Dreamcast and all of that too. Sega, Nintendo, and the battle that defined a generation. It was a really good interview. You can watch that on Triangulation and the book. Now, here's the deal: we're going to get you the book for free. But it doesn't have to be that book. They're telling me now that Catalyst, which is the Rogue One novel, is out. Yeah. So we're starting to see this. The Star Wars novelizations on here are fabulous. Often they're acted out with sound effects and multiple voices. They really do a great job on these. I remember I didn't really understand the last Star Wars movie, so it was a little too complicated for me. So I read the book and I went, "Oh, I get it." So this is, I think, a great idea. So another thing you could pick. The idea is you're going to get one book. Free just by going to audible.com/windows. We've made this offer to you many times before. Why, oh, why haven't you picked it up? There's lots of good stuff, too, for people who are interested in technology. If you haven't read Stephen Levy's Hackers yet, this is the book to read about the earliest days of the computer revolution. That's on audible.com. I mean, Trevor Noah has a new book the host of The Daily Show. Actually, apparently he writes a lot because he's got several new books. His newest is called Born a Crime, Stories from a South African Childhood. Wow, that sounds pretty heavy. Pretty heavy. Great stuff. You can read fiction, nonfiction, memoirs, biographies, great science fiction, romance, even young adult and children's fiction. It's all here. Look at this. I want this. The Godfather Notebook, narrated by Francis Ford Coppola and Joe Mantegna. What? Never before published edition of Coppola's notes and annotations on the Godfather novel. What? Got to read that. This is so awesome. You're just the most amazing bookstore. College courses too. They've got the great courses, the best teachers teaching subjects that you just wish you'd taken in college. I have the one on game theory. It's just great. Oh man, it's fantastic. Here's the deal: you're going to get something free, but you got to pick, and then go to audible.com/windows. You'll be signing up for the Gold account. And, of course, that's the book a month subscription. But if you cancel in the first 30 days, you pay nothing. And that book will be yours to keep forever. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, final cover to be revealed. You know why? Because if you see the cover, you'll know what happens. So they're hiding it. It comes out December 16th. I love it. Audible.com/windows. Paul and I are massive fans. Get your Audible book today. Free. We are in Amsterdam, just outside of Schiphol Airport, the airport everybody's been to. Nobody ever left. But I can't. I've been in Amsterdam 100 times. I've only been in the city twice now.
Oh, that's funny.
But it's a beautiful city. I'm so glad you got to go there and spend some time and drink some beer. But now you're back to work with the back of the book. Let's start with Paul Thurrot's tip of the week.
Yeah, so the tip this week is that anyone can now make a Skype phone call, I should say, and you don't have to have an account.
What?
And to do so, you just go to skype.com and choose Start a Conversation. It doesn't work like a Skype call does now. If you think about how you log into Skype, you choose a person. I'll call Mary Joe. I'll type a message or maybe send an audio call or whatever. It's not like that. You're actually just starting an empty conversation. And then you get a link. And you can send that link to people via email, text messaging, whatever. And then they can join the conversation. And then that conversation is there for 24 hours. And you can use it to do a lot of the kind of non-premium stuff that's available on Skype. There are still some things that require a Skype account, and Skype accounts are free, so it's not like this is an onerous requirement. But let me see if I can bring up the list. Premium features include real-time conversation translations with Skype Translator, the ability to call a phone, like an actual phone, like a landline or a mobile phone, and then the ability to return to a conversation after 24 hours, because these things are 24 hours long, and then they just expire. But you can do voice and video calls, you can do screen sharing, file sharing. Works up with up to 300 people for chat and up to 25 people for voice or video chat. And it's all free, and it can be anonymous as well. So pretty cool kind of capability there. And what do I have? Oh, in the app pick, this is so a little bit, I have something for everybody today. For Android and iOS guys, Google released a new app today called PhotoScanner, which is from the Google Photos guys. And this is one of those apps that lets you use your phone as a scanner for photos. It's not going to work for big batches of photos, but if you have just maybe like a shoebox full of photos, it's kind of a neat idea, because what it does is it kind of has you reposition the camera a few times to account for the glare that often, is on a photo just from the lights in the room. And then it stitches together a single photo that gets rid of all the bad stuff, and it has editing functionality and so forth. So it's free. It's just something to kind of check out. And then I don't often get to recommend games for Windows 10, but I've got two this week that are pretty cool, and both for the same reason. So these are the Comply mobile app picks of the week. Both of these games, Plimply Adventures and John Strike, are kind of side-scrolling 2D scroller type games. Plimply's that kind of Flappy Bird type game where it's like an endless runner kind of thing, side to side. John Strike is like a 8-bit 1980s video game. It's got those kind of graphics and stuff. It's cool. They both work on phone and on Windows 10 for PC. But the cool thing is they both support Continuum on phone. And so if you have a Windows 10 mobile device, you can run these games on your phone normally. But if you attach it to a Continuum dock or use a wireless Continuum, you can actually play the games on the big screen as well. So you can use a keyboard, mouse, whatever. And that's I thought that was pretty unusual, but I found 2 of them this week that do the same thing. Pretty cool.
Neat.
And they're both free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plimply looks like what's that? What's that old flying game? But with shooting.
Like,
Flappy
like
Bird. It's Flappy Bird with shooting.
Yeah.
It's not as fun as the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit of the year, but
it's not.
No.
But
thank you for acknowledging that.
Mary Jo Foley with her enterprise pick of the week.
My enterprise pick is the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. Surprise.
Woo!
Woo, woo.
I knew you'd pick up on that.
Yes. And there are a couple things worth noting. This just came out, another quiet release by Microsoft, came out quietly November 14th. And now it is called Build 8443 instead of something like Microsoft Deployment Toolkit 2016.
That's such a sexy name. I love
it.
It
is.
It's way better.
Yeah.
They've decided to drop the year references on Microsoft Deployment Toolkit because they said they're probably going to be not tied to specific versions of Windows. But it had been, I think, 2 or maybe even 3 years since the last Microsoft Deployment Toolkit release. So this one works with Windows 10 anniversary update. It works with Windows Server 2016, Configuration Manager 1606, and you can download it right now. It helps you automate your desktop and your server deployments. So it's out now if you're an MDT fan.
Nice.
MDT,
it's here. 8443. 7.
Rolls right off the tongue like a balloon.
Yep.
Yeah.
And your code name of the week I like. I want to go to both of them.
So first, we haven't said this word yet on the show, and it's time.
Hadoop.
Hadoop. Actually, the word is Azure Data Lake. So everyone drink, if you have a drink. Azure Data Lake. So the code name has to do with Azure Data Lake today. And there are 2 parts of Azure Data Lake that went general availability today. One was the analytics service, and one is the storage engine. The analytics service was codenamed Kona, and the storage engine was codenamed Cabo. So that's why Leo said he wanted to go to both places.
Kona and Cabo.
I know.
Wow.
Both pretty awesome, right? Yep. So these tools are actually external implementations of what Microsoft built to use in-house. If you ever heard of them talk about Cosmos, these are the customer-facing versions of these tools that Microsoft uses internally as the repository for big data. So the analytics tool is analytics on the repository for big data, and the storage engine is the storage engine for that repository. So Kona and Cabo are the code names.
Let's all have Cosmos at Kona and Cabo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
It better not be from Jopen.
You've all been wondering, what's the beer pick of the week? And this has been a tough week to pick one because we've had some amazing ones.
But you picked the right one.
Yeah.
So
Paul's
I did
got a
pick
giant coaster already.
I picked a Jopen that we both tried yesterday, and we were both very impressed with it. It's called, well, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but Johannieter.
I just put an accent on it and makes it sound more like you know it.
We were just judged by a murmuring crowd. But anyway.
They were all like, what is she saying?
What? Jopen Johannieter. No, that sounds Scandinavian.
Right. So this beer is really interesting to me because it's a combination of double bock and an export stout in one beer together. It's like a hybrid cloud. It's a hybrid beer.
Yes, it's a lot like a hybrid cloud.
It is. It's just like a hybrid cloud. And
it's the Hadoop of beers.
Yeah.
Paul and I both had it yesterday, and we both had a sip, and I'm like,
I think
wow.
we can safely say we agree on this one.
We agreed. We don't always agree on beer, but this one we did, and it comes in bottles. We had it on tap at Jopen Kirk, which is the church that is a brewery.
Which we found after walking in the pouring rain for over an hour.
Yeah, but it was worth it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jopen Kirk. So, it says a couple of things, that it's very nutritious.
Yes, the description says it's very nutritious.
Yeah, just like Guinness.
Yeah.
And they say that is because it uses roasted wheat and malt, so it's not really sweet, but it has that roasty.
It's literally designed for pregnant women.
Yes. You could,
no, it's
don't
not.
drink that at home.
No, it is not.
No, it
Let's
is
make
not.
this clear.
Let's not pretend that. Very good, though, especially for Americans who don't get a lot of bock and double bock.
Yep.
This is a nice treat. So
what
that
does
was my beer.
Characterize a double bock or a bock?
Oh, man, this crowd probably knows this better than me. Characterize a double bock. Like, how would you characterize that? We don't get a lot of them.
Shifty-eyed.
Is it strong? Is it like a stout? Is it stronger?
No.
Or?
It's not strong like that. It just has this really nice roasted flavor to me.
Oh, see, I like
it's a
that.
seasonal beer. You know,
Okay.
it's really
a
good for
seasonal
this
beer,
time
but
of year.
yeah. So typically we get these in the fall, right?
We get these in the fall.
But I was told here they have spring. Yeah, they have spring and fall here.
Yeah. But yes, we enjoyed it. But now we have all these other Jopens to try, and maybe every beer pick of the week for the rest of the year is going to be a Jopen.
I'm on
Who
board.
knows? No, actually, people tonight brought us all these amazing beers, hand carried by many of the guests.
Sweet.
So it's going to be tough to.
Aren't you glad that it's your trademark is not jelly beans or something?
I am. I am.
Right.
I think I picked well when I picked beer as my hobby.
The lead weight of the week.
Yeah. See, people come with lead weights, and you'd have to say thank you, and
I know.
No.
Just leave them for the maid at the hotel.
Yeah.
We have so many. So thanks to everybody who came and brought beers, and even people who didn't bring beers. Thanks for staying out late with us tonight.
Yeah, and just
I
know,
think the sun's about to come up, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. Based on U.S. customs regulations, you must drink all those beers before you leave the country.
But we're planning on it.
We have 3 more days, so
Plenty of time.
Yep.
Hey, this was you're right, peak Windows Weekly. Thank you guys. That was fun. Really great. And thanks to also to our hosts in Holland, the Wortel company, Wortel, WORTELL.NL. I didn't know this makes software for HoloLens, which is pretty cool.
Now you know.
Now I know. Now I know. Paul Thurrott is at Thurrott.com. That's his blog, and where he posts all the time. Become a member, and you get even more delicious posting. Mary Jo Foley's at allaboutmicrosoft.com, where she does not write about beer, contrary to popular belief, but in fact about Hadoop and enterprise stuff.
Or about Linux.
All the
and
things
Linux.
that make you drink beer.
Whatever's.
If
If you want to keep up with Microsoft, that's the place. Actually, for both of them, we're very fortunate. 2 of the best Microsoft observers in the world hosting this show. So have a great time. Thank you, and safe travels back.
Thank you, sir.
We shall reconvene next Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That is 1900 UTC.
I love that you just still know this.
7 p.m. your time in the evening. So it's about 9 o'clock there now?
Actually, it's 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Okay, you guys are not. You're 1 hour different. So we'll see you then. If you can't be here live or in the chat room at irc.twit.tv at those hours, of course, you can always get on-demand audio and video of everything we do. twit.tv/WW for this show, or you can watch it on YouTube. I think it's youtube.com/Windows Weekly Show, I think. Anyway, if you go to youtube.com/twit, we have links on the right side to all of the Twit shows. You can go right to those pages and subscribe there if you want to get notifications.
But Leo, do any of those other shows have holograms?
None of them come close to this show.
Okay, just check.
Not even close.
They don't have beer picks either, do they?
No.
Just saying.
No, there's
Why do you even do other podcasts? I don't even understand this network.
This seems like this is the show of shows. This is your show of shows. All you need to know. Yeah. You can also subscribe and favorite podcast app, and you'll get it each week. And that's probably a good idea too, audio or video. Although, if you listened to today's show, and most of you do, I know, because you're in the car or whatever. When you get home, download the video because it's worth seeing just that hologram or HoloLens segment because that was really interesting. Yep. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks to the audience.
Yeah,
great, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Great audience. Wow. That's a bigger audience than you draw in the States. You have fans in the Netherlands. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm moving here, Leo.
Can I join you? We'll take the whole operation. If there's anybody listening in the Dutch government.
You could move into an abandoned church.
I would love to. I always wanted to do Twit from a church. And they have great bandwidth there. I mean, it's got everything I need. And
granted,
beer.
it's dark 16 hours a day right now. But
that's why they have good beer.
Yeah.
That's why Linux exists, because Linus had nothing to do over the winter, and he just was cold and dark, so he wrote Linux. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time on Windows Weekly. Bye-bye. Sorry I mentioned the L word. I apologize.